bit about the impact on food.
Hi. So,
press the button.
Okay. Just when the world urgently needs to protect livelihoods, health and the environment via regulations and relocalization of trade and investment, TTIP, in the name of regulation harmonization, i.e. deregulation, will increase the speed of this global race to the bottom. An example is TTIP's predecessor, NAFTA, which forced open trade and financial barriers between the US, Canada and Mexico. This allowed America to dump its subsidized products on Mexicans, putting hundreds of thousands of small-scale family businesses out of business. They have flooded over the border to the US to work in the very meat factories and slaughterhouses that had destroyed their small-scale family farms. These migrants, often without documentation, are the cheapest labor in the US as they are exploited with threats of deportation. If they complain of poor pay, lack of union representation, or repetitive strain injuries due to the speed of cutting lines in jammed slaughterhouses and packing plants. As shown in my film Pig Business, the series, this downward spiral of ever lower standards is global and is facilitated by these free trade treaties like TTIP. Like NAFTA, treaties that enforced so-called free trade within Europe have bankrupted Eastern European family farmers by flooding industrial pork on their markets, forcing them off the land and into cities and abroad to seek jobs. If the EU citizens allow our politicians to sign up to TTIP, Europeans will be forced to compete with an ever more cutthroat market due to even cheaper, ever lower quality meat from these factory farms in America. I will list some of the EU standards that we have fought to secure, that will go to the wall if TTIP is signed. Any efforts to restrict the use of antibiotics in factory farms in Europe would be thwarted by TTIP. As in the US, it is legal to give antibiotics to animals not only to prevent sickness, but also as a growth promoter for these pathetic animals to go ever faster to the slaughterhouse. TTIP will also undermine the EU's precautionary principle for food safety standards. The precautionary principle ensures that new products like pesticides, GMs, or artificial food additives with a potential risk to health must be determined safe before being allowed on the market. In the US, the precaution is reversed. New products must be proven unsafe before regulatory restrictions can be imposed.
By testing them on humans!
Yeah. With no precautionary principle, the EU will not be allowed to continue the ban on hormone-injected beef from the US. In the same way, the EU will be unable to refuse pork injected with Paline, a hormone that makes pigs grow 16% faster. A practice allowed in the US, though banned in 160 countries, including Taiwan, China, and the EU. Under TTIP, food scandals like the horse and meat scandal will soar. So, whoever pays the piper plays the tune. So corporations who pay for elections, employ out-of-office ministers, and spend millions lobbying our politicians have ensured that all the major parties embrace these free trade treaties. So, pre an imminent election, politicians listen to the public. So now is the time that we, the 99%, join the myriad of non-governmental organizations and unions to say no to TTIP, to shape the world we want to live in now. We must only buy food that have labels indicating high animal welfare, method of production, and provenance. Though under TTIP, these labels will be deemed a barrier to trade, so potentially banned. So we must express our solidarity today by taking the pig pledge. That is, if you eat meat, only buy from real farms, not factories. you.